Dynamic, articulate, perceptive, courageous, outspoken.
Welcome back to the dojo. We got another reaction for you. This time, right? Let me turn this up a little bit. Turn some desktop audio on. Just a little bit. So we got background noise. Alright, so look, right? They wanted to be gangsters until the cartels found out. This is by Mixed Phenomenon. 8 days ago this was posted. Let me refresh to make sure, because it might have been 9. I had to sit on my computer for a day or two. Yeah, 10 days ago. We want to be accurate, you know what I mean? This was 10 days ago on Mixed Phenomenon's channel. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's find out why they wanted to be gangsters.
The FBI
and what happened when the cartel found out.
is on the case of a missing Texas man they say bragged about stealing thousands of dollars from a Mexican cartel and then disappear just 2 hours later.
2 hours. 2 hours. That's how long it took. It ain't take them no time to find you. They said, oh, that's who it is? They probably knew exactly where you... They probably didn't even have to look. They knew exactly where you was at. Know where you be at. Looked at your Instagram. Oh, I know exactly where he live. I got a homeboy to stay over there. That's probably exactly how it happened, bro. They said, man, the cartel, bro, they well connected everywhere. They do business in Mexico and over here. They just do it a little differently over here because it's a lot more laws. But if you fuck that money up, or if you think you fucked them up, bro, shit. Boy, man, if you think you gonna get away with the cartel shit, bro, they top-notch gangsters, bro. They top-notch gangsters. And they got the weapons and the money to back it up. You not messing with no cartel.
The most powerful is the Sinaloa cartel. Almost the 70% of the world is infected by this cartel.
She said 70% of the world. 70% of... So what's the 30% that ain't been touched? Let me find out. What's the 30% that ain't been touched, mama? She said this cartel is everywhere. Man, come on.
October 10th, 2010 started like any other day for Martin Cota Monroy. He made a reckless choice to steal from a Mexican cartel that doesn't believe in second chances. That pistol...
Woo! They is not playing. They is not playing. They say you wanna bang with the cartel? Well, we don't play no games out here. You think it's a game? It's gonna be game over for you. Just like that. Just like that. No second chances. None. Nada.
Off the cartel and ended up costing him everything. These are 8 times wannabe gangsters messed with the wrong cartels.
8 times? 8 times? You mean to tell me? Oh my God. I didn't know I was watching a documentary. I thought it was just like a couple of guys who thought they was going to mess around with the cartel and got, you know what I mean? And got they comeuppance. But this is a documentary. This like 30 minutes long. Alright, well shit. Let's go.
Rafael Clavel Moreno. He lost everything in a single move, and the man behind it didn't know he just signed his own death warrant. In the late 70s, Palma got caught smuggling drugs in Arizona.
It said late 1700s down there. I ain't gonna act like I ain't see that. He said in the 70s, the narrator, but it said 1700s. Yo, you gotta be careful with them subtitles, man.
The sentence was 8 years behind bars in a United States prison, but prison wasn't what broke him. That part came later. After serving his time, Palma came home to find that the world he left behind had been shattered. His wife, Guadalupe, was gone. So were his 2 children. And the man responsible wasn't just a stranger. His name was Rafael Clavel. Clavel wasn't some rival kingpin or hitman. He was a smooth talker, charming, calculated, and hungry for power. He had seduced Guadalupe, convinced her to drain $7 million from Palma's accounts, and vanished without a trace. But his...
What? Hold up. You sweet-talked his wife into flying away with you and taking some money. Taking $7 million. Man, what? $7 million? You think you gonna get a... Man, $7 million? From me? Oh, no. Everybody's coming to find you. Because everybody gonna eat nice off when we get you. $7 million? Boy, you crazy.
His betrayal didn't end there.
And my bitch. And my... Nah, yo. And my kids? Nah, yo. Nah, yo. You ain't... Nah. You do not have long for this world.
There. After taking the money, Clavel strangled Guadalupe in a San Francisco hotel room. Cold, calculated. Then he crossed a line no one imagined could be crossed. He took Palma's children to Venezuela and threw them from a bridge.
What?
That single act didn't just take lives, it lit a fire that would consume everything in its path. Grief twisted into fury. At first, Palma believed his old boss had a hand in the killings. That suspicion exploded into a brutal war between cartel factions. Bodies turned up everywhere. Streets ran hot. But the truth surfaced soon enough. Clavel had acted alone. No orders, just greed and arrogance. From that moment on, Palma became a man with one purpose. Clavel's allies began to vanish. One by one, they were tracked, cornered, and erased. When Clavel was finally captured in Venezuela, he didn't face justice in a courtroom. Under Palma's instructions, he was tortured, torn apart, and left to die in pain that no words could capture.
Woo! Cause I mean, bro, look at what you did. You tore his family apart. You murdered his wife and children after sweet talking her. So you made her cheat, and then you took her life and the kids and $7 million. You took everything from me. You took everything from me. So you know what that means? I gotta take everything from you. And because you don't have shit, that means I gotta take your life slowly. So you feel every bit of pain that I did. Man. It's some crazy people that have walked this earth.
That wasn't revenge. It was a lesson. A warning etched in blood for anyone who thought betrayal came without consequences.
Oh, and all your mans got killed too. All these dudes that you was cool with, yeah, every last one of them gone. Because of you. Because they was cool with you. So they gotta go. Man, that's cold-blooded, bro. That's the coldest. Bro, did they ever make a movie about this, man? Did they ever make a movie? Man, what? This sound like a A1 thriller. Like, boy, I could just see it now, bro. This should be a movie. That's a movie, bro.
Clavel wasn't a cartel boss. He was a con artist who thought charm could get him a seat at the table. But he touched something sacred, and he paid in full. Years later, another man thought he could outsmart the system. His name was Martin Cota Monroy. Just a small-time player. He stole a heavy stash, over 400 pounds of marijuana along...
That boy was a smoker. That boy liked to smoke weed. That boy liked to smoke a lot of weed. He took 400 pounds Bro, how do you stash that away? Like, how do you 400 pounds? That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. Like, I've had I had a quarter pound before. You know what I mean? I had a quarter pound before. That's like the most weed I ever had at one time was a quarter pound. Yup. I wasn't moving no big weight. I wasn't getting it like that. But yo, I'm just thinking 400 pounds, like how do you move that in a car? Like you gotta have like a box truck or something. Like you need a U-Haul for like for that amount of work. You know what I mean? You can't just put that in the trunk of a car. Like that's not gonna fit. I'm just trying to get you the picture like how much that is, and like it just stopped me in my tracks when he said it. 400 pounds of marijuana. Like, bro, that's a lot of weed. That's a whole, like, how much do you weigh? You watching this video, how much do you weigh? It's probably like twice your body weight. Twice your body weight in weed. Like, bro, that's 2 whole people. That's 2 whole people. God. That's a lot of weed, bro. That's a lot of weed.
Along with meth, and told his bosses the Border Patrol took it. He ran to Chandler, Arizona, thinking the border would protect him. It didn't. On a quiet October night in 2010, men entered his apartment posing as friends. They didn't just end his life, they turned the place into a warning. He was beaten and beheaded. What they left behind wasn't just a corpse, it was a message. If stories like this keep you hooked, hit that subscribe button.
Nah, stories like this ain't gonna keep me hooked. But yo, that's crazy, bruh. This man ran off on the plug, yo. He ran off on the plug with 400 pounds, bro. Two big ass grown men. 200 pounds is a lot of weight, bro. 2 big ass grown men worth of weed. He ran away. 3 people in his car. You know what I mean? He got 3 people in his car. He got to drive, and then the 2, bro, that's a lot of weight, man. And they said, nah, bro, you ain't making none out of this one. So your friends came to see you. Yeah, your friends came to see you.
We've got more real ones, more betrayal, and more brutal endings coming your way. And that includes L.A. Capone. Poza Rica gangs. Imagine a city once booming on oil wealth crushed under a wave of blood and terror. Back in August 2023, something deeply disturbing came to light. Authorities stumbled upon a horrific scene. 13 bodies hidden inside freezers, packed tightly in trucks, all found in one of Mexico's most dangerous states. Alongside the bodies was a chilling note, a warning from a name that sparks fear in the criminal underworld. CJNG. That kind of discovery stays with you. It's the kind of thing that could break a person mentally. But what led to this nightmare? Let's rewind. Poza Rica, once known for its rich oil reserves, has turned into one of Mexico's deadliest war zones. The city bleeds from street to street as criminal groups battle over control. And leading the charge with ruthless precision is the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, better known as CJNG. This isn't just another gang fight. This is a high-stakes conflict, pitting an international crime powerhouse against deeply rooted local groups that won't surrender easily. Despite their resistance, one thing became clear. CJNG was gaining ground fast, leaving a trail of blood and fear behind them. At the center of their push into Poza Rica stood a feared figure, Necio Elemento. Known for storming into new territory without warning, he didn't waste time talking or threatening. He simply wiped out anyone in his way. Poza Rica, located in Veracruz, was never going to be an exception. Still, this city wasn't like the others. Here, the streets already belonged to people. Local gangs, many with connections to the old Zetas cartel, had been operating for years. They had built networks, formed political ties, and embedded themselves so deeply that removing them would take more than brute force. One of these resistant groups was Los Dios, Made up of ex-Zetas, breakaways from CJNG itself, and remnants from Grupo Sombra, they weren't the largest force in Mexico, but they had the advantage of familiarity. They knew the terrain and had support from corrupt police officers, shady politicians, and smaller crime rings. Yet CJNG had no plans of slowing down. They entered the city with brutal tactics, public killings, surprise attacks, police targeted in broad daylight.
Bro, that Mexico, bro. Mexico is bro. Mexico, bro. Y'all think y'all so gangster out here is like, they ain't got the same kind of government we got. Our government will hunt you down and snuff you out. Like, that's the baddest gang in America, the government, the military. You know what I'm saying? Like, you not much, you don't got, they make it so that you can't get shit out here in America. You can't get that kind of power in America. It's just, unless you work for them people. Like, America, it's only the government. The government rules all. In Mexico, it's the gangs and the military, bro. The police, man. Why would you want to be a police officer out there, bro? Why would you want to be? Man. Only way you want to be a police officer is you work for the gang and you try and get inside. Y'all trying to get an in. You know what I mean? I could see that. But yo, it's just, bro, it's a whole different world. Like, y'all think y'all gangster over here, man? Go ahead, try to set something up over there in Mexico. Go ahead, try to set something up over in Mexico, because it seems like that's where the money at right there. Nah, yo. Nah. These cartels, maybe it's not even Mexico. Maybe I'm just tripping, bro, but she said 70% of the world is touched by the cartels, man. Mexico, it seemed like Mexico owned the world, huh? Or at least the dark part of it. Mexico owned a lot. Man.
In no time, Poza Rica began to look like a war zone. Mutilated bodies were left out in the open as warnings. Fear.
Alright, and look, I know I keep saying Mexico, but I'm saying, like, bro, I don't know where these cartels is from, where they at, where they be at, where they do they dirt. I don't know nothing about it. I heard him say a couple of places' names, but I done forgot that fast. All I know is whoever these cartels is, I don't never want no problems with them. I don't want none of that smoke. They look like they got, look at all them guns. Yeah. They got the helmets and everything. These guys is rocking regular street clothes and then got the army fatigue, got the bulletproof vests, got the 100-round drums, got the magazines, extendo clips. This man got a bandolier with all the fucking bullets. Like, bro, stop. Bro, don't play. Yo.
Became the new currency. Even law enforcement found themselves torn. Some tried to protect the city. Others turned away, or worse, joined the cartel quietly, driven by fear or money. Anyone who dared resist CJNG often ended up dead. Then came El Coco, a name that carried weight on both sides of the conflict. Once a soldier under Zeta's commander Cro El Puccini, Gonzalez Perez, Coco rose through the criminal ranks. After his former boss was eliminated, he aligned fully with CJNG and became their enforcer in Poza Rica. His presence only intensified the violence. He led coordinated hits, organized ambushes, and made sure CJNG's grip tightened with every passing day. But Los Dios didn't back down easily. They hit back. They targeted CJNG vehicles, killed corrupt officers, and launched their own deadly ambushes. What followed was total chaos. The police force began to crumble. Many officers quit, either out of fear or because they'd switched sides. Whole communities became trapped, caught between two ruthless forces. Executions became routine. In one gruesome moment, several dismembered corpses were stacked together beside a CJNG banner. A message for everyone to see. Resistance meant death. Los Dios responded by wiping out a police convoy they believed was helping CJNG. The response came fast. El Coco and his men hunted down anyone suspected of working with the enemy. They didn't ask questions, they just acted. But CJNG had too many resources, too many soldiers, and far more firepower. The resistance was tough, but it was starting to crack. The breaking point arrived in August of that year. After months of relentless bloodshed, CJNG launched a final string of attacks. They took out key figures from Los Dios, business owners, corrupt politicians, even rival sympathizers. No one was safe. Poza Rica became a city under siege. The violence could...
Poza Rica. Wherever that's at, man. Don't you ever go to Poza Rica. Don't you do it. I don't know what's out there. Don't never go to Poza Rica. I'ma remember, don't ever go to Poza Rica.
Could no longer be ignored. The Mexican government responded with a large-scale operation. They arrested several members from both sides, including some high-ranking names. The news...
They had the government get in there. Okay. The government had to get in there and try to take some guys down. Damn. Shit, the way it look like the government don't be getting their hands dirty with none of it. They just let the gangs do what they do. At least from how the story flowing, like, bro, I'm new to this. Like, I don't know nothing about none of this.
Made waves. But on the ground, nothing really changed. CJNG had already won. They didn't just defeat the resistance, they humiliated it. For the everyday people still living in Poza Rica, there was no victory to celebrate. Only survival. Shops shut down, families escaped. Those who remained lived in silence, afraid to even whisper about what had happened. Even with arrests, CJNG's control didn't fade. They had carved their name into the city's bones. Eric Tadeo Ramirez. One careless phone call turned Safe Haven into a death trap for Eric Tado Ramirez. It all began with a boast, a reckless, casual remark over the phone that would cost Eric Tado Ramirez more than he could have imagined. March 24th, 2023, Laredo, Texas. Ramirez is on the line with a woman, just talking. On the surface, it sounds like a normal conversation. But then, out of nowhere, he drops a bomb. He brags about stealing $50,000 from
He said, I took $50K from the cartel. He was just talking to some chick, got jammed up, talking to them girls, wanted to act like you somebody bigger than you is. And he was a big boy. You could see it, you could look at his picture. He was a big boy. He said, I'm bigger than what you think I am. I'm a real big boy. Yeah, okay.
Cartel del Noreste, the kind of group whose name alone sends chills through people who know what they're capable of. But Ramirez wasn't done. He laughed, said he was safe now that he'd crossed into the United States. He thought being in Laredo, just across the Rio Grande, meant he was out of their reach. He believed the cartel wouldn't dare follow him into American soil. And if they did, surely law enforcement would protect him. That was the moment his fate was sealed.
What? You think American cops gonna protect you? You already cartel or affiliated with them. They want you out. They don't want nothing to do with you. If you know how these American police, man, what? You got what on your record? Oh, okay, yeah, come with us. Put your hands behind your back. Man, ain't no mercy for no. You gotta be a rich, powerful motherfucker out here for them not to fuck with you. You gotta have some real money. 50K? Nah, you ain't doing shit. You ain't doing a damn thing. You be lucky if that make you through the year. It's expensive over here. You lucky if that make you through the year. 50K.
Because cartels don't follow the rules. They don't recognize borders, and they definitely don't forget. Especially not when someone mocks them publicly. Not long after that call, a blue pickup truck pulled up outside Ramirez's place. Armed men wearing masks didn't waste a second. They didn't knock. They stormed the house, grabbed Ramirez, and dragged him out screaming. No one could stop it. No one tried. They threw him into the truck and headed straight for the border. The route? The Juarez-Lincoln International Bridge. the same one that connects Laredo to Nuevo Laredo.
They said, you in America? Watch this. They came wherever you was at in America, pig tied your ass, hog tied your ass, and threw you in the back of a pickup, and took you all the way back so you could die in your homeland. That's crazy, bro. That's another movie right there. Bro, that's another movie right there.
CDN's turf. And what happened there was caught on camera. As the truck crossed the bridge, Ramirez made one desperate move. Bloodied and terrified, he pushed the door open while the vehicle was still in motion and hit the ground hard. For a brief second, he tried to run. Maybe he thought he had a shot, but that hope ended just as fast.
They ran him over.
One of the kidnappers jumped out, sprinted after him, caught up, and dragged him back. The truck door slammed, and Ramirez was gone. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. Now in Mexico, inside cartel territory, Ramirez was no longer a man. He was an example. And CDN? They don't show mercy to thieves, especially not ones who run their mouths. The details of what happened next are buried in silence. But CDN is notorious for its brutal punishments. Executions, beheadings, torture. Things done not just to kill, but to make a statement. Back in Texas, Ramirez's girlfriend...
Like, how many of these people think they really gonna get away? Like, how many people gotta be made an example of before y'all just understand not to try that shit? Like, everybody think they slick, bro. These, you up against numbers. You up against guns. You up against swords, knives, blades, pitchforks, chainsaws. Like, you up against the worst of the worst, bro. And you all alone. What, you got, a pistol? Maybe an AK? A Draco if you nasty? Like, bro. Why do these... Bro, I don't get it. Like, people don't be valuing their life must be like, if you gonna take it there with the cartel, you feel like you got away because they ain't come straight for you. They wasn't worried about no 50K, bro. We heard a story about somebody taking 7 million. Like, 50K? Like, nah, you died like a dog for 50K. That wasn't even worth stealing. That wasn't even worth stealing, brother. We heard somebody took 7 million and got his wife to do it. Like, Rico Suave type. Like, he actually tried. Like, he went for it all. Like, that man went for it all. He was like, I ain't gonna ever have to do nothing ever again. That's what he was going. And man, they really messed him up. But yo, he said, I ain't never doing nothing ever again. He said, I want out of this life. I'm going to take this girl with me because I know she always wanted me. Because you can't just sweet talk no girl. She got to be feeling you some type of way. You know what I mean? And she was feeling him. So he felt like he could make it happen. And he did. He did, man. He made that shit happen. But they made it happen too. But yeah, let's continue, man.
Friend and sister knew something was wrong. They contacted the authorities, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation got involved fast. This wasn't just another crime. It was a cartel operation carried out on American soil. Investigators didn't waste time. Soon, they arrested a suspect, Jonathan Gabrielis. He had known ties to the cartel. Under questioning, he confessed. Ramirez had stolen from CDN, and this was the price he paid. But even with that arrest, hope of finding Ramirez alive vanished quickly. This wasn't the first time a cartel reached across the border to handle business, and it won't be the last. For years, they've used American cities to run drugs, launder money, and more.
See? They got stations and operations in America. You think they don't speak no English? You think they don't speak no English? What? Nah. They know how to speak English because English all about that money. It's all about that green, that verde. Yeah. They know what it is. They know exactly what it is. And that's why they getting money over here. That's why they able to get money over here. Because they know who to pay. They paid the right people. And they got their own shit. Yep. That's what happened. America said, oh, you got money. Oh, well. Well, what you want to do again? Sure, you can have whatever you want. How much? Oh, sure. Even better. You can have the whole city. It's yours now. Here's the key. Just like that. That's all you got to have in America is money, bro. And for a cartel that's getting it every which way to Sunday, it's nothing to them.
But this showed something darker. They're not just bringing products, they're bringing terror. Ramirez's case shattered a long-held illusion. That crossing the border somehow meant safety. That being in the United States meant you were untouchable. He thought he was safe. He thought he could steal from one of Mexico's most dangerous cartels and brag about it. He thought American laws would shield him. But when you cross a group like CDN, no law, no border, and no phone call can protect you. And what made it all the more tragic? Ramirez wasn't a big player. He wasn't a kingpin or some cartel boss. He was just a guy who got cocky, thought he could cheat the system, laugh in the face of danger, and walk away. But cartels operate on power and fear. If you take from them, they take everything from you and make sure the world watches. His story spread fast, but so did the silence around it. Was he tortured? Was his body ever found? Did more people help in the abduction? In the end, Eric Tato Ramirez became another name on a long list of those who thought they could outsmart the devil. Acapulco Massacre. Before the sun had fully risen over Acapulco, the Sinaloa cartel had already...
Hold up. I be hearing about people be having functions and stuff in Acapulco. Acapulco had cartel activity? Shoot. Acapulco, huh? Okay. Shit. Acapulco.
written its message in blood. Early January 2011, in the sun-soaked beach city of Acapulco, usually known for tourists and resorts, something else.
Yep, tourists and resorts. That's what I was saying. They be having shit going on over there in Acapulco. Because I heard that name before. It's a popular place. It's a tourist destination. But it's cartel activity over there, baby.
Else was waiting that morning. Right outside a shopping plaza, authorities stumbled on a nightmare. 15 lifeless bodies, all men. 14 of them had handwritten messages pinned to them, signed off by none other than El Chapo's crew. The message, loud and clear. The Sinaloa cartel was claiming responsibility. Turns out the victims were members of a gang known as the South Pacific Cartel. And the reason they were taken out? They'd been messing with Sinaloa's grip on the city and interfering with their drug routes. Now, to backtrack a bit, the South Pacific Group had first popped up around April of 2010. They were a spin-off of the already fading Beltran Leyva cartel, and before long they were doing their own thing in Acapulco. At first, they were known for wild, ruthless tactics. Believe it or not, they even used a 12-year-old kid as a hitman. But the spotlight didn't last long. Within a year, that gang was basically wiped out. Most were either locked up or, well, let's just say they didn't make it. Why? Because they tried to go head-to-head with the Sinaloa cartel. And if there's one thing you should already know by now, it's this. Sinaloa doesn't play fair. Since their rise in the late 1980s, Sinaloa's name has been feared. With brutal bosses like El Chapo and El Mayo Zambada calling the shots, they didn't hesitate to throw hands, not just with rival cartels, but even with the government itself. These guys didn't just dominate Mexico. They built a worldwide operation, using everything from secret jungle routes to full-on tunnels beneath the border.
Bro, these people is not playing, yo. It's guerrilla warfare, bro. It's pure guerrilla warfare. Man. That's one hell of a life, bro. To be a part of the cartel. If you live a long life in a cartel, you must have been made for it, because it don't look like people live long in that shit. You make one mistake, that's it. Bro, it's no mistakes. It's no mistakes, bro. And if somebody make a mistake, you might have to be the one to, you know what I'm saying, make the example out of them. Yo, that's some serious shit, man. Y'all think, you think you gangster? Man, that's gangster, bro. That's gangster. That's, bro, everything they doing, like, got tunnels, bro. When America collapse, then we'll be able to do shit like this. When America collapse, then we'll be able to do shit like this. And I don't know how thorough. See, we not gonna be dismembering people like that. They just gonna take them out and probably send them to your house. You know what I mean? Like, we not doing all that cutting you up and like, nah, bro. We not doing all that, bro. We not doing none of that. Like, that's just like, that's a waste of time for us. We like, bro, we not wasting time on that. Just give him two in his head and send him to his mother. Like, we not wasting time dismembering people, and we not doing that. Getting all nasty and gotta clean this mess up. Nah. No. We not doing all that. So when America collapses, then all the gangs can take over, and you know what I mean, that's what it's gonna be. But it looked like we getting closer and closer to that anyway, so y'all can keep dreaming. Y'all can dream a little longer.
Despite all the police raids and arrests, the cartel kept moving. But things really came into focus when El Chapo got caught. Again. After 2 wild prison escapes, he was finally recaptured and sent over to the United States in 2016. That's when people truly began to grasp the level of cruelty this man was capable of. Fast forward to 2019. After spending 3 years behind bars in the United States, El Chapo finally stood trial. The courtroom was packed. Cameras clicked. And then came a witness no one expected. His former bodyguard, Valdez Rios, known on the streets as Memon. When Memon took the stand, he didn't hold back. According to him, Chapo wasn't just the boss. He was bloodthirsty. Didn't care if you were a stranger or someone close. If he felt betrayed, it was game over. He told the court about a moment that burned itself into his memory. 3 men, former cartel associates, had jumped ship to join a rival group. Chapo found out, and he made an example of them. Memon said Chapo beat them for hours. No mercy. Bones cracked like dry twigs. The men couldn't even lift their heads. They were like broken dolls on the floor. And even then, Chapo wasn't done. He kept striking them with a stick, with his weapon, whatever was in reach. Later, the victims were dragged to a clearing where a bonfire raged. Before ending their lives, Chapo reportedly looked each one in the eye and cursed them. Then, with 1 shot each, he ended it. But he didn't stop there. He tossed their bodies straight into the flames and told his crew he didn't want a single bone left behind.
Dang. Like, yo, they beat them to an inch of their life, then put a bullet in their head, and then burnt them. Yo. Bro, this is just like the most twisted, brutal dealings. Like, this age, like, in the medieval days, they did some wild shit. Like, the medieval torture methods, like, I don't think nothing comes close to them. Like, they the ones that, that's what they did. Torture is what they did. Yes, indeed. When I heard about the Blood Eagle, I'm like, oh my God. Man. But this, what they doing, the cartels, they ain't that far off. They are not that far off.
A town called Vengeance. They asked for help. No one came, so they fought back. And what followed shook the cartel to its core and made headlines around the world. It all went down on a cool day in early December, specifically the 8th of the year 2023. The people of a small town southwest of Mexico City called Texcaltitlan had finally had enough. After being pushed around for years by a ruthless cartel, these villagers turn into gangsters and decide they aren't going to take it anymore. With no government backup and nothing left to lose, they picked up whatever weapons they could find. Old hunting rifles, machetes, sticks, anything, and made a bold move. They were going to stand their ground. Whether they lived or died, they were done being bullied. Now you're probably wondering,
Nah, I ain't wondering nothing. Like, that's what happens when you get pushed to that point where it's like, bro, I don't care no more. We don't have nothing left to lose but our lives. I'd rather go out fighting like a dog than to just die like a bitch. I ain't thinking about I understand that sentiment clearly. Cause I know if I got pushed far enough, I'd probably feel the exact same way. I need to go ahead and get me a snack, something to drink or whatever. But man, this is interesting. This is some crazy stuff, man. Woo. Alright, we're gonna get back into this, man. You probably ain't recognize I was gone. Had to take me a little break, man. This thing kinda long. And I'm making it longer by talking, but I'm just reacting to it, and it's some wild stories. So let's continue.
how did the cartel react? Before we get to that, let's rewind a bit. The cartel in question? La Familia Michoacana, one of the most violent and extortion-heavy groups in the region. They'd been bleeding the town dry for years, charging business owners a so-called protection fee every single month. And when folks couldn't pay up, they'd come with threats, or worse. Things hit a boiling point when the cartel decided to double the tax for a group of struggling farmers. One of them said, "We barely survived the harvest season. We couldn't even afford the original fee, let alone a higher one. It was either die of hunger or fight, so they fought." On that fateful day, the villagers met the cartel at a local soccer field. What was supposed to be a money drop turned into a battlefield. The cartel came heavily armed, some of them even wearing fake military uniforms to intimidate. But the villagers weren't backing down. They came ready, determined, and furious. Then, bang! A single shot rang out, and chaos exploded. What followed was nothing short of war. Farmers with makeshift weapons faced down trained killers. By the end, 14 men lay dead, 4 of them villagers, and 10 from the cartel. Among the dead, the cartel's local boss, a man known as Comandante Payaso, or Commander Clown, the very one who'd been raising the extortion tax. The surviving cartel members ran for their lives. The villagers? They burned the cartel's trucks and even set the bodies on fire. The message was loud and clear. Afterward, one villager said bitterly, "We warned the Mexican army. We told them we wouldn't pay anymore. We begged for help. No one showed." Their cry for help had fallen on deaf ears. But once the smoke cleared and the news broke nationwide, the whole thing spiraled into a political mess. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador blamed the violence on drug addiction and failures by past administrations. He said young people had been left behind, and the solution was love and not war. But his opponent, Xochitl Galvez, wasn't having it. She slammed his famous hugs not bullets approach, saying it.
What? We gonna get a cartel a hug? So you mean to tell me we gonna get a cartel a hug? Like that's gonna work? These people are taking everything from us. We have nothing left. You mean to tell me hugs? Give them hugs, not bullets? Man, how can you be so out of touch? You live in the same place I'm in. You see the shit. You know what's going on. And you gonna tell me some dumb shit like that. I feel the villagers on that one.
It left rural communities abandoned. Her words were cutting. The hugs have been for criminals, the bullets for citizens. Still, this time around, there were no bullets for the villagers, and shockingly, no prison time either. The government declared their actions as legitimate self-defense. It felt like a rare win for the little guy, but relief was short-lived. On the 27th of December, 2023, La Familia Michoacana came back, and they came with a vengeance. In the dead of night, cartel members stormed the village. 14 people vanished, taken. Among them were 3 police officers who were stopped at a cartel roadblock, and a wounded man pulled straight from a hospital bed. Authorities said there was no ransom demand, but locals knew better. The cartel wanted one thing: the names of those who led the uprising. The villagers stood firm. They wouldn't hand over anyone. Days passed. No news. Silence. And then, just when hope was all but gone, there goes a twist. On the 16th of January 2024, the police got an anonymous tip. Following it, they found 7 of the kidnapped people, 3 women and 4 children, sitting quietly behind a chapel in the state of Mexico. They were alive and unharmed. Did the cartel suddenly grow a conscience? Doubtful. Not with their track record. As for the other 7, gone without a trace. The rescued victims had no idea where they'd been, or what happened to the rest. And now, we're left to wonder. Are they still alive somewhere? Suffering in silence? Or did they pay the ultimate price for daring to stand up? Vows in blood. Everyone was seated. The couple had just started their vows. Then out of nowhere, chaos. It was January 11th. The sun lit up the small town church where Kem Elizabeth Yepes Ortiz was glowing in white, eyes full of dreams. She walked down the aisle like any bride would, believing she was stepping into forever. But as her vows hung in the air, something darker crept into that sacred space.
Damn.
Just as she was
On your wedding day? On your wedding day, your man get yoked up by the cartel. At the wedding. Man. Bro, that's a movie. That's another movie.
pledging her love to the man at the altar, chaos erupted. Armed men stormed the church and opened fire. Panic spread like wildfire. Kem collapsed, a bullet tearing through her while her groom was dragged away by the attackers. He wasn't just any man. He was known on the streets as El Calamardo, a feared drug boss. But that wasn't all. Kem herself came from a bloodline soaked in cartel history. Her brother was El Maro, a notorious figure leading the Santa Rosa de Lima gang, a family deeply tied to criminal networks. Their enemies were no ordinary street thugs. They were up against CJNG, short for the
Oh man, them again. Them CJNG boys. They ain't no joke, man. They is not no joke. You cannot mess with them.
Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Despite being relatively new in Mexico's crime scene, CJNG quickly earned its reputation for sheer brutality. The Mexican government sees them as the second most dangerous cartel in the country. The U.S. even ranks them among the world's top 5 transnational criminal threats. Their leader, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, started off wearing a police uniform, but once deported back to Mexico from a U.S. prison stint, he rose like a ghost no one could pin down. Today, there is a $10 million bounty hanging over his head. His reputation? Ruthless, cold, and terrifying. To El Mencho, violence is more than a tool. It is an obsession. His influence bleeds into every level of CJNG. His foot soldiers, who call themselves the elite group, pledge loyalty with blood and fire. They have left a trail of horror across the country. We're talking about mass killings, beheadings, acid torture, and even cannibalism used to initiate new recruits.
What?
One evening...
Oh my God. They demons. They crossed over. You gotta pledge your loyalty with blood and fire. You gotta eat flesh. Yeah, they demons. They ain't nothing short of demons.
In Veracruz, during peak traffic, they dumped 35 tortured bodies in public for all to see. In another chilling act, they tied explosives to a father and son and filmed the detonation, laughing in the background. The madness didn't stop there. They once targeted a young girl, believing she was the daughter of a rival. She wasn't. That didn't matter. So who would dare stand against this monster of a cartel? Apparently, someone did. Kem's brother, Jose Antonio Yepes Ortiz, known as El Maro, ran a gang that specialized in stealing fuel from state pipelines. His crew had been at war with CJN.
Stealing fuel from state pipelines. Damn. So you gotta pay the cartel just to get gas over there. That's insane. And you know they gonna tax. Because they had to steal it. They can charge whatever they... Oh my God. Cartel stealing gas, yo. Fuel. What if it's diesel fuel? Like, you gotta get your... Man, you wanna do some construction work? You gotta go through CJNG.
NG for years. That war intensified when a threatening narco banner appeared, demanding the president pull out federal forces from Guanajuato or face more bloodshed. The banner carried the name of El Maro's gang, but he denied any involvement. He claimed CJNG planted it to spark chaos. El Mencho wasn't one to let his name be tossed around lightly. He decided to retaliate by sending a brutal message. What better way to strike than turning El Maro's sister's wedding into a massacre? The groom vanished. Kem lay lifeless. El Maro ran, but he wouldn't be free for long. In August of that same year, security forces caught him during a joint raid. Many thought this would be the end of the Santa Rosa de Lima gang. Then came the twist. In January 2024, a photograph spread like wildfire across Mexican news outlets. A woman, believed to be the new leader of the gang, had emerged from the shadows. She was accused of coordinating massacres, police ambushes, and even a party bloodbath that left 11 people dead and 12 more injured. The most unsettling part? That woman looked exactly like Kim. Whispers began to swirl. Could she have survived the church attack? Was her death staged to fool CJNG until she could rebuild and strike again? Official records never confirmed her death. Authorities remained tight-lipped. No funeral photos, no public statement, just silence. Whoever this woman truly is, one thing is clear. She's challenging one of the most vicious cartels in the world. And if there's anything we know about CJNG, it's that they do not forgive and they never forget. La Capone. He was just getting started, and then it was over. Le Capone, born Leonard Anderson, was a rising rapper from the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, bro. This is what I saw on the thumbnail. I'm like, hold up, yo. So it was a hood nigga that thought he wanted to run with the cartel. Or run off on the cartel. Like, damn, bro. It don't matter who you is, bro. The south side of Chicago, he thought he was gonna mess with... Man. Bro, that rap be having niggas bugging out, bro. That rap be having niggas bugging out.
Who had only begun to carve out his place in the drill music scene when tragedy struck. He wasn't just another voice in the crowd. There was something sharp about his delivery, something real in the pain behind his lyrics. Signed under Lil Durk's Only the Family, he dropped gritty tracks like Play for Keeps and So Loud, songs that made people stop and listen. He wasn't rapping for the clout. He was rapping for his life. At just 17 years old, El had a growing fan base and a real shot at making it out. But making it out of the streets of Chicago, especially in the height of the drill movement, wasn't just hard, it was almost impossible. On the night of September 26th, 2013, Lay was leaving a recording studio near Stony Island Avenue. He had just finished another session, focused on the dream he was chasing. As he walked outside, someone was waiting. A gunman stepped out and fired. Lay was shot in the thigh and lower back. He tried to run, fighting to stay on his feet. He collapsed behind a building nearby. He was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Hours later, the city lost another young voice. He didn't make it. Authorities later charged 3 men in connection with his murder, believed to be tied to gang rivalries. Some said it was his lyrics that made him a target. Others claimed it was a long-standing beef. Maybe it was both. Whatever the reason, the result was the same. A teenager with raw talent, drive, and a future was taken too soon. His story became another reminder of how fleeting life can be for young black men trying to rise from violence they never asked for. Le Capone didn't get the time he deserved, but even now his music still echoes through the speakers of those who remember.
Hold on, bro. I don't think he got nothing to do with the cartel. They just sprinkled this one in there. He ain't get hit by the cartel. Not because of his name, did he? Like, man, he in Chicago. I don't think the cartel's really heavy out there like that. I know they a little bit of everywhere, but I don't think they heavy out there like that. I think he got killed in his hometown, on his home turf, in his own soil. Like, I'm waiting for them to say something about it, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
His voice, filled with hunger and heartbreak, never truly left. Allies turned ashes. What looked like trash on a bench turned out to be a brutal message to the entire cartel world. On a quiet morning in March, something deeply unsettling was discovered in a park in Guadalajara. March 18th, 2021. A body wrapped so tightly in black plastic that the officers who first arrived on the scene thought it was a discarded mannequin. But as they got closer, the truth began to unravel. This wasn't just any body. This was someone powerful, someone feared. 2 blood-soaked poster boards were stabbed into the plastic with kitchen knives. The message was chilling. It named a man known on the streets as El Cholo. His real name was Carlos Enrique Sanchez Martinez, once a top figure in Mexico's criminal underworld. But who was he really? And how did a man with so much influence end up abandoned on a public bench like a broken toy? El Cholo wasn't always the hunted. At one point he was right beside El Mencho himself, rumored to be his second in command within the CJNG, one of Mexico's most dangerous cartels. But something shifted. Greed, ego, maybe even betrayal. Whatever the reason, El Cholo made a fatal move. He allegedly ordered the killing of Marcos Hernandez, known as El Colombiano, who managed CJNG's finances. El Colombiano had reportedly uncovered some dirty secrets about El Cholo's side dealings and ran straight to El Mencho. Rather than face the storm, El Cholo broke away. He formed his own gang, Nueva Plaza. Backed financially by the rival Sinaloa cartel, he waged war against his former brothers. The violence escalated. Territories became battlegrounds. And the air in Guadalajara grew heavier with every passing day. Now, if you had seen the things El Mencho was capable of, if you had worked under him and lived through his reign of terror, would you ever turn your back on him? Well, El Cholo did. Just hours before his body turned up, a video began circulating online. It showed a man wearing a red Lacoste shirt, seated in a plastic chair. There was something already broken in his eyes. He looked like a man who had stopped fighting the inevitable. Standing behind him were masked men, all armed, all silent. In the footage, El Cholo confessed. He took responsibility for multiple attacks across Mexico, including one on the United States consulate. He also exposed a number of corrupt officials who had been helping him, hoping to bring CJNG down from within. One name he mentioned struck a nerve: Omar Garcia Harfuch, a high-profile law enforcer with a tough stance on organized crime. Back in June 2020, Harfuch had survived an ambush that left 2 of his men dead and bullets lodged in his body. He blamed CJNG for the hit and swore justice would follow. So when El Cholo dragged his name into that viral video, it felt like the fuse had been lit again. Almost immediately, Harfuch dismissed the claims. He tweeted that the words of a man held hostage by criminals meant nothing. But his denial only added more questions to the chaos. How did El Cholo know these names? Was it desperation or truth spilling out? At the end, with tears hiding behind his steady voice, he urged his people to walk away. He told them to go home, be with their families. Then, in what felt like a goodbye carved in pain, he said, "Look how I ended." And then, silence. Not long after, his body showed up in that same park, tightly wrapped in plastic. His face was badly swollen, but people still recognized him. He had been beaten, shot in the head, and left in plain sight.
Dang.
On his chest, a blood-smeared sign carried just 4 chilling words. This was El Cholo. There were no more whispers and no more rumors. In that world, when you cross the wrong people, the ending is never a surprise. It is just a matter of when. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Well, that was a wild ride. That was a wild ride. They wanted to be gangsters. I watched the whole thing, man. And quite a few dudes met their end, but nobody did it harder than the guy who took $7 million. And the dude wife, like, that was a movie right there, bro. That's an Oscar nominated movie right there, bro. What they gonna call it? Suave or some shit like that? El Suave, the smooth one. Like, yo, nah, yo took $7 million, took his wife and his kids, bro. He took this man's whole life without taking his life. Like, But the revenge was crazy though. They ripped this man apart. They tore him limb from limb. Like, that's crazy. There's some wild stories right there with them cartel boys, man. Don't ever mess with them cartels, and don't ever go to that one place I said, man. Don't go to Mexico. Just leave Mexico alone, man. They minding their business. I'ma mind mine. You feel me? I'ma mind mines. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. I hope you enjoyed this reaction, guys. Now, toodaloo.